Hi guys, it's Amy Gable Stitcher here with a 2019 year in review and 2020 planning video. I gotta say that I absolutely love the cross stitch year in review and planning videos. So I am very excited to make one of my own. Every end of December, first half of January, I watch as many of these videos as I can find, just because I'm always interested to see what people finished the year prior and what their plans are for the year going forward. I gotta be honest, prior to this year, I never went into a year organized with plans for the coming year. I was very, very loose in my plans and figured I'd plan it later. But seeing that I'm doing a video, I figured it'd be a good idea to sit down, make some plans, and actually come up with, something relatively solid for this year. And I feel so good that I did that. I went through all my WIPs. I decided to UFO a few of them just because I just don't like them anymore, or there's something about them I don't like the fabric or something. I went through and planned which things I wanted to start next year. I have decided to do a few stitch alongs with people. And so I pulled charts and everything for those. And I came up with a plan for what to do for next year. And I'm really excited to share it with you. If you make videos and I don't know, and you are doing a year wrap up and planning video, let me know in the comments, because I would love to watch those videos. And if you're just if you're a floss tube watcher like me and you love those videos too, feel free to let me know any that you've seen that you enjoy, because that's pretty much going to be my floss tube watching for the first half of January. I love them. So those and WIP parades, those are my favorites. So I have so much stuff around me. The first thing I'm going to film are my finishes from 2019. And then I'm going to pause, put those away, and then I'll go through my plans. So 2019 was a good cross-stitching year for me. I finished 11 things in 2019. I don't have all 11 with me because some of them were given as gifts. So I will show you the ones I have, and I will insert pictures of the others. A few numbers. Like I said, I didn't keep great records last year, so these are roundabout. But hopefully next year it'll be easier for me to come up with these numbers. So going into 2019, I had 36 WIPs, which was a huge number for me. And they were going back to the 1980s. I had 8 starts. And between the combination of finishes and UFOing projects, I will be going into 2020 with 27 WIPs. So that is a net decrease of 9 WIPs. And that makes me very happy. Ideally, I would like to be below 20. It's going to take me a few years to get there. But I think between around 15 WIPs is probably my ideal, maybe even a couple below that. But, as long as I'm net going down, I'm okay. This is a lifetime journey. So my first finish, like I said, I had 11 finishes this year. It basically worked out to just about 1 a month. My first finish was in January. I finished it on January 4th. And this was I Solemnly Swear I'm Up to No Good. This is by Fiddlesticks AU on Etsy. This design was unavailable, but I believe it is available again. I stitched this for my daughter Abigail for her birthday. I finished it on her birthday, but it's fine. Framed it myself, entered it in fair, won a blue ribbon. I was very excited about that. And it hangs on our wall. This is just a $5 frame, but looks good. So that was finish number 1. I changed the chart a little bit just because I didn't like the way In the chart, the scarf is striped, like the Hogwarts scarves, but it looks good in the Gryffindor color, but in the Slytherin color, it just was too much. So that was finish number 1. Finish number 2, these are roughly in order. This was the finish of my oldest whip. This home is where the heart is. This was from I want to say a Family Circle magazine in the 1980s, like 85 or 86. I had started it when I was probably about 12 or 13 years old. My mother was sick of hearing me complain. I was bored one summer, so set me up with some Aida and DMC from her stash because she was a cross stitcher. And that's how my love of cross stitch was born. So I had finished almost all of it except for the roof of the house because I ran out of floss. And this year, after, 30 years, I finally finished it. So it's complete. I signed it, this was 1987. I signed it 1987 to 2019. And this is one of those journey pieces. I would like to either make this into a pillow or have somebody make it into a pillow for me. So, and put it on a chair that I have in my room. So it's finished 2. That got me out of 1980s for whips. I was very excited. So we went on to the 90s. And my quilt girls, these are Jeremiah Junction pattern. This is mid-90s. I started this probably like 95, 96. And everything except that last quilt and girl was finished. This one over here. And I finished that in March of this year. And this one, once again, I signed with my initials with the years. And same thing. I mean, I was not kind to myself, right? No border. Fabric chicken with like a $2 piece of Aida and the Scotch tape on it. But I think it can be made into a pillow. I'd like to do that and have that also with my home is where the heart is. Finish number 4, I believe, was Little Ballerinas by Country Cottage Kids. This is one I had started for my oldest daughter when she was doing ballet, doing dance as a little girl. Never finished it. My niece is a ballerina now. Well, she's taking ballet lessons, so I did it for her. And I'll insert a picture of it completed here. And I have gifted that to her. So that was number 4. And up until this point, all of these were done with the called for, DMC and call for threads. These were obviously DMC and Aida. Solemnly Swear was done on 28 count Monaco that I coffee and tea dyed with the called for DMC. This was done, I think, on a witch out linen, which was probably the called for, with the called for DMC and Classic Colorworks. Another finish. Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost. This is by Stitcherovia. This I stitched for my husband. It is done with DMC, call for DMC on 28 count Monaco. And this is, once again, framed by myself, just in a frame from craft store. Next finish. This one was for myself. This is Salem. This is by Verbena Cross Stitch on Etsy. This chart is available. This I stitched on some X Jude linen. with 310 and some Weeks, I believe, that I pulled from Stash for the accent oranges. Once again, just another one in a craft frame that I framed myself. My next finish was a finish for my grandmother. It was Happy Birthday by Sub Rosa Designs. I'll put that in. I had done like a cube finish with some foam and fabric and ribbon. And I had given that to her for her birthday, and she really enjoyed that. That was also stitched with Extrude linen, and it was stitched with fibers I had pulled from Stash. Another one I do not have is H is for Henry. H is for Henry was gifted to my nephew. That was stitched on 28 count even weave with Victorian Motto floss that I had just picked myself. It was also an Etsy design. It was a custom order by Mumia X Stitch. And yes, she was great to work with. I told her what I wanted because I liked the designs on her page, and she was able to do a design for me very quickly. So H is for Henry. I framed it myself as well with a frame that I had purchased, a custom frame I purchased online. Another finish, Prairie Schooler, The Witching Hour. This is stitched on, I believe it's a platinum Zweigart linen. Called for DMC. It's a 32 count. That was a lot of fun to stitch. I really enjoyed that. Does still need to be fully finished. It's just been sitting, which a lot of my projects do if they're not going to be gifts. So that was a really fun stitch. And that was in this book. This is book 200. This is one of the original cardstocks, but it has been reprinted. So this is readily available. Next finish was And To All a Good Night. It's a Blackbird Designs. This is an out of print Blackbird Designs. It's in Early Loose Feathers. This was stitched with all the called for fabrics, which I believe was a 30 count Weeks, and called for fibers, which is a combination of Weeks and Classic Colorworks, I believe. And I love this. I think it came out really nice. And this I also framed myself with a custom frame I had bought online. Next finish is Happy Halloween. This was a Lakeside Needlecraft stitch along. It was a Mystery Sal, I believe, a number of years ago, a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3, like 2016 or something. It's designed by Doreen Jones, and I stitched this in kind of a Sal with Julie, Kansas City Girl in Colorado World. And I stitched it with the called for DMC and Light Effects. And it's on a 28 count Monaco that I Rit dyed. This was a really fun stitch, stitched up fast, really fun. And once again, needs to be fully finished. And my last finish, if you'd watched my most recent floss tube video where I was more in the same clothes and in the same spot, you've seen it. It's a 12 Days of Christmas by Satsuma Street. And this was stitched on 28 count Monaco with the called for DMC. And this was a lot of fun to stitch. And that was my final finish of 2019. So my goal in 2019 was to finish more things than I started. I did do that. I finished 3 more things than I started. Ideally, my goal is 2 to 1 to get my whips down. If you count the whips that I UFO'd, I was 2 to 1. So I'll take it. But I'm very happy with the net decline of 9 whips. So it was a good stitching year. So I'm gonna pause. I don't know if I can pause. And I will be back after I put everything away to go through my plans. So now the exciting part, plans for 2020. So the past couple of weeks, I've gone through all my whips. I've been meaning to do that. Like I've done it a couple of times this year, but my whips were kind of scattered in a few different places. So I wanted to go through everything and take pictures and see where I stood so I could figure out what I could reasonably finish for next year. When I was talking with Julie, Kansas City girl in the Colorado world, she told me that I should probably try putting my whips in order of oldest to newest. It's what she does because she says it helps motivate her to get the older whips out. So I decided to do that. And I'm really glad I did now. It was a great way to do it. So I made a spreadsheet of all of my whips, what % complete they are, around what year I started them, because I don't know for all of them, what projects I think I can complete next year. So one of my goals for 2020 is to actually stitch on all of my whips. So 27 of them. So my plan is to pick 1 a week to touch and to focus on. I figure after stitching on them, some of them I might decide I don't want to work on anymore and I will UFO a few others. Others I'll stitch on for that week and then probably put away again. But I did pick out 13 out of the 27 that I would like to focus on finishing next year. I think 10 of them are very realistic. 3 of them are definitely a stretch. Definitely a stretch. So I'm not going to do a full whip parade, but what I'm going to do is I am going to show you the projects that I am planning to focus on finishing, the ones I would like to see finished at the end of 2020. I said there's 13 of them, and these will be going from oldest to newest. I will let you know which ones are a stretch. You'll probably be able to tell which ones are a stretch without me telling you, but just in case. So the first project, it's a Just Nan Seeds of Friendship. This is a class I took in 2004. I took it and I did not stitch on it much after 2004. So I'll show you my progress. It's a band sampler and I'm about 30% done. I think 3 bands are complete. I'm not thrilled with my stitching on the white of the pergola with the silk. So if I have extra silk, I might go back and restitch it. If not, I'll live. So this is 30% complete. This is, like I said, I'm gonna go through and pick 1 a week to kind of focus on going down so I can touch everything. So this is gonna be touched in January is my plan. So I would like to have this for a finish in January or early February. In the past doing Just Nan samplers, I find that a 10 band sampler I can finish in about a month. This one is 30% done, so hopefully I can finish it in January. So that's one. Second one is Home of a Needleworker. I just showed this in my update video. Little House Chart 4. I had started this when it first came out, so this is old. I think it's about 2004. I had stitched it on 32 count Belfast, and I stitched it in the called for colors. I hated the house, it was brown. This past month, I pulled out the brown. I stitched it in a nice variegated gray, and now I like it and would like to complete it. And the words are also in brown, but I started stitching it in terracotta instead, which I like better. So that is project number 2 I would like to complete. That will, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That would be stitched on in February. I will likely stitch on this more in 2019 as well. So it's number 2, focus for a finish. Number 3 is a huge stretch. So much of a stretch, it just jumped onto the floor. This is Permanent Copenhagen, Sampler 1830. Also known as Amy's Green Blanket. I worked on this a lot this year. I got it into my mind I wanted to finish it at StitchCon next year. And then I got really sick of it and hadn't worked on it since like August. So this is where it is right now. And this is about 25% complete. Maybe a little bit more. I mean, it might be 30%, but I'm still in the top half of the sampler. And there's still a little bit more here. I had been doing a strand of floss a day on this and making good progress. So I think if I get back to doing something like that, I have a good chance of, if I don't complete it, making really good progress on it next year. This is from 2005. I love it. I would like to finish it. But that one I do think is a big stretch to finish. That's on 32 count Belfast with DMC. 2 strands of DMC. It is 934 DMC. Okay. That one is slated to work on in March. Next one. Next one is Leela Studio, Join Your Hands. It's a wedding sampler. My husband and I have been married 19 years. We do not have a wedding sampler. I have 2 started. This one is closer to completion than the other one. So I would like to finish this one for our 20th anniversary. This is stitched, I think it's on 36 count with Weeks and Classic Colorworks. The reds they're almost the same color. Like if I had to do it again, I just would have picked one color because I have a hard time even telling it in person. So this is where I am. This is at least 50% done. There's a lot of wording to do in the middle and I need to chart it and most of the words are over 1. So let's see. I don't think this bottom part is going to take very long. Really, the words are what takes a lot of time because over 1. So that I would like to have finished and framed for our anniversary. And our anniversary is in December. So I have time, but every year I put it off. And then by the time the end of the year rolls around, I don't have time to finish it. So I think that's April. If I finish these other ones too, I'm not opposed to pulling something out and working on it. Next, Halloween Fairy by Mirabilia. This was a kit. I did not like the fabric it came with because it was a Witchelt and it was very stiff. And I also saw it done on a purple opalescent linen and I decided I needed to do that. Actually, this might be an even weave. I'm not entirely sure. So this is where I am. I started this, what year did I start this in? I think this is about 2010. So I have the bottom part of her done. I think I can finish that. So I'd like to finish that. She is about 30% done. And it's all called for except for the fabric. I think she's gonna take a good amount of work because there might be some beading, but I think it's doable. It didn't take me that long to do the part that I did. There's definitely gonna be some pauses in this video because I just got a phone call. So next one is Hogsmeade. This is by Country Magic Stitch on Etsy. She does not have these shown in her shop. However, you can message her and she will sell them to you. At least that's what I've heard. So this is a full coverage design. I love stitching on this. I think it's very relaxing. It's just the colors and big blocks of color. So this is on 18 count Aida. I don't think I've stitched on this much this year, at least not like since like March, probably at the latest. This is about a third done. So I would like to finish that this year. There are 2 other charts in that series. There's the Hogwarts Express and there's Hogwarts. I would like to do the other ones as well. So I would like to finish that one this year. It's a stretch, but it's not as much of a stretch as Sampler 1830. Okay. Next one, Quaker Garden by Blackbird Designs. This is a loose feathers. This is stitched with the Called for Everything fabric and floss. It is a Weeks, which I'm not thrilled about, but it's fine. Ow, ooh, just poked myself with the needle. I am about halfway done with this. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. This is really tough to photograph. This isn't that bad right now. It's pretty true to color. Colors are a little richer than what you're seeing. The green is a richer green. It's washed out. That's better. So that is about halfway done. I don't think that will be difficult to finish. I used to belong to the Blackbird Designs Loose Feather Club. This needle, it just got me again. So I have a lot of the older Blackbirds that I would like to complete. Okay, next is Spooky Countdown. I forgot to show this in my update video because I did work on this month. So Spooky Countdown by Primitive Hair. Stitching this on a 32 count linen that I coffee and tea dyed myself. It's MGC Textiles. I love the pattern, love the colors, not a fan of the fabric. So since you last saw it, I completed block 13 and 14 and this one here, and I'm partly done with that one. So this is halfway done. Is it halfway? 1, 2, no, more than halfway done. I have this row, one more row, and then the bottom banner. So that is definitely doable as a finish for 2020. So yeah, I'm right here. This is one more row and the bottom banner. Next one, this one's a stretch. It is Modern Folk Embroidery. It's the 2018 Mystery Sal. It's 4 seasons. This is just part 1. but you've likely seen it. A lot of people have stitched it. I love this. Modern Folk Embroidery is doing a 2020 Quaker sale. I'm holding off right now from signing up for it, but it's definitely on my radar. So this is where I am with this. I worked on this a good amount at the beginning of the year, and then I put it away. I think I worked on it last in April. So I am almost done with the first, I believe, 3 months. And I need to purchase the rest of this. I should do that today. I think I'm missing 3 or 4 months. This is a stretch because I'm only about a third done. But I have quite a few big samplers started, and I'm going to be starting a couple of others. So I really would like to finish that one. That is on 40 count Newcastle in DMC 3802. All right, next is the 2019 Linens and Threads Mystery Stitch Along. It's 12-month stitch along. I have month 1 done. And I have started month 2, which was the border. I was actually doing really well with this, and then I put it away and never picked it up. So this is another one that's a stretch. But I would like to work on it. And I may not do this as it was like completed. I might alter it a little bit. I might not do the whole thing. But I love the peacock Percy. My friend Celeste like keeps telling me I need to pull out Percy, and I agree. I do. So I will finish this some way. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be as charted. That is stitched on DMC, excuse me, on Even Weave, 28 count Monaco over 1 with DMC. The peacock is in 3808, which is like my favorite teal. The next 3 are ones that I should be able to finish. This one I started as a birthday gift for my daughter, Natalie. It's the shape of Darth Vader. It says you don't know the power of the dark side. So that is, how much complete did I say that was? It's about 20% complete, 25% complete, but this isn't much work. This isn't, I probably worked on this like 4 days, and I frogged a lot of those 4 days. So I think that's doable for a finish in 2019, excuse me, 2020 as well. Number 12, Pumpkin Ladies by Little Stitcher. Just showed this in my last update video. It's about 75% complete. So that should not be a stretch to finish. Okay, and the last one is one of those that's barely a start that I hate just barely starting, but I really wanted to do the Home for the Holidays sale with Lynette from Homesteading on the Homefront. It was anything from the Blackbird Designs book, Home for the Holidays, which is a great book. If you don't have it, it's still in print. Worthwhile getting. Blessings Be Thine is what I was going to choose to do. I started it with Lynette. Have not touched it since. It's a 46 count linen from Victoria Motto. And really, like, let me show you. Yeah, this is my start. Piece of green. So this is the let me just show you. This is the fabric I'm going to do it on with some silks that I stashed over for. Even though I have nothing done, it's not that big. So I'm putting it down to hopefully finish it. So that was my mini whip parade. That was the 13 things, projects I think I can finish in 2019, or the ones I would like to focus on and finish for. Excuse me, in 2020. In 2019, I essentially finished one thing a month. And what I have found that works well for me as far as focusing on a project is to pick one thing a month that I can, one project a month I can really get my teeth into and try to finish. And I'll use other pieces to kind of fill in as travel pieces, or for another piece when I'm kind of sick of working on that focus piece. So seeing I have 13, I think that if I pick one a month, I can definitely make some good progress and hopefully finish 10 of those 13. So like I said, I've listed in order, and what I'm going to do in January is just pick from the top and go down. So we'll see where we get. Now, projects I would like to start for 2020, and I listed them out. So now the whole year, I'm not necessarily 100% sold on. However, I do think the first 4 to 6 months is pretty set. So let me go over those with you. I am going to be participating in 4 stitch-alongs this year. And then I picked out a Halloween start for every month from the 13th to be doing with Julie, Kansas City Girl, and Colorado World. So my first start for a new year, new start, I actually have 2 things written down for that. One is a peacock, a unicorn, and a badger. So I am going to stitch this with Abby Bella Stitch. She and I are going to do a stitch along with this. She had mentioned she was going to start it, and I'd wanted to stitch it too. So I offered, you know, I said, let's sell it. So she is still waiting for her kit. She had ordered the kit, I believe, and it is back ordered. I just ordered the chart. So when she gets hers in and we decide to start it, we'll do it together. So I am going to do mine on 40 count with DMC. I believe she's using the silk, so that's going to be gorgeous, but I'll be using the DMC. A lot of people are stitching that right now. Jen Lee, Emily C. It's been a very popular chart. So seeing we likely will not be starting that on January 1st, I needed a new year, new start. So I picked out my R&R sampler, the designer motif sampler that Julie, Kansas City Girl, and I are doing as a friendship sampler. So we are going to stitch it on our birthdays every month, which are close in date. So we'll hopefully get 2 days a month on it. I am also going to stitch this with DMC, and I believe I am going to stitch this on this piece of fabric. This is a 40 count Vertil. It's an even weave. I have never stitched on 40 count even weave before. So it's a pretty piece. It has some interesting modeling on it, so I think it'd be really nice for that sampler. And I'm going to use the DMC fibers. So those are both slated for January 1st. However, most likely only one of them will happen on January 1st. For my Halloween start, my January 1st start, excuse me, January 13th start, I will be stitching Rebecca Nurse by the Primitive Hair. So I have wanted to stitch this for a while, so that will be my January 13th start. February 13th will be Kindred Spirits by the Primitive Needle. So that's February 13th. March 13th. This one might change because I'll explain why in a minute. So March 13th, Right now I have slated Nevermore by, Quaker Gone Po by Michelle Inc. I picked this up last year at Celebrations of Needlework. So I have it all kitted up and ready to go. I also have Quaker Gone Haunted, and that will fit in this piece of fabric too. So I have been wanting to stitch this since I got it. So right now I have that for March 13th. I may put an ornament in its place though, because on March 15th, Ellen Chester and I are hosting a sale. We are hosting Botany Bay by Fox and Rabbit Designs. This is an Australian sampler. And we would love for anybody to join us. Teresa Kitten Stitcher has this at her website. I believe Sassy Jacks is carrying it too right now. So March 15th, Ellen Chester and I and anybody else who would like to join us. It calls for a ton of overdyes. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to do the DMC conversion. I'm not doing the overdyes. So I'm kind of over buying a ton of overdyed threads right now. If I have them, I'll use them. If not, I'm just going to sub in the DMC. That's March. April 12th is Easter. And April 12th on Easter, I am hosting another sale with Lynette from Homesteading on the Homefront and Donna Ray from Flannel Jammies Farm. We are going to be stitching Savior's Praise by Teresa Kitten Stitcher underneath her designer name, Shakespeare's Peddler. I do not have my chart with me, so I will insert a picture right here. I will be stitching this on a neutral linen with the called for anchor, and there are like 3 weeks. I'll be using those too. I already have all the fibers for it. Lynette and Donna Ray and I would love for you to join us with that sampler as well. And seeing that it is designed by Teresa, it is available on her site, Kitten Stitcher. Now for April 13th, May 13th, I have written in to do an ornament or a small for Halloween. I have a ton of Prairie Schoolers. These are 2 ornament issues. I have this one that these have ornaments on it. I really, really like that ornament there. More ornaments. And I have every Halloween issue of Just Cross Stitch. So most likely I can easily pick an ornament out of any of those. So April 13th, May 13th, an ornament or a small. Looking ahead to June. In June, I will be at StitchCon. And I did not bring a new start to StitchCon this year, and I was regretting it. So I decided to make my Halloween start a StitchCon start. And right now I'm thinking I will be doing Susanna Folly, which is a Tombstone Angel by Kathy Barrick. I love this. Kathy has a few Tombstone Angels, and I would like to stitch several of them. July 13th. July is my birthday month, so I figured it'd be kind of neat to do some fun starts in July for Halloween and my birthday. So July 13th, right now I'm looking to do Midnight Watch by Blackbird Designs. I have a nice dark blue fabric I would like to use, so it looks like a night scene. And so that's what I'm planning to do now for July 13th. For my birthday, if you've watched others of my videos, including my original Whip Parade, or just, I mentioned this on a few videos. One of my unicorns has been Mirabilia Sleeping Beauty, and I have pretty much given up ever finding it because it's been out of print for a long time and really hard to find. And I won't pay an obscene price for a chart that the designer is not gonna see the money for. So a shop in Massachusetts, Bush Mountain, had bought the inventory of a shop that I believe went out of business and had a lot of old charts. And I was lucky enough to snag Memorabilia Sleeping Beauty. So, and I did not pay out of print price for it. So, yeah, I squealed. I went to my husband and it was just like jumping up and down. And I don't know if he quite understood why I was so excited. But when I explained it to him, he did. You know, he's a good guy. So I'm thinking this is gonna be my birthday start. I have a good idea of what fabric I'm gonna use. Excuse me. Excuse me. I have a good idea of which fabric I'm gonna use. I've been messaging with Lori from Seraphim Fabrics, and I think I know what fabric I'm gonna use. So I have until July to gather the pieces for this. This is huge. We'll see how I feel in July. If I'm really overwhelmed, I might not start it, but like I said, I have been dying to stitch this for about over 10 years. So one more time, because I'm so excited. That was really my unicorn. All right, then we're getting into the end of the year. So at that point, I kind of stopped planning. I figure if I am really overwhelmed at that point, which I very well might be, then I will do ornaments or smalls. I did pick out 3 of the charts that I like. I don't see myself starting all of these, but these are 3 that are the top of the pile. Primitive Hair, Lizzie Borden. This is not a big chart. I would like to stitch it. Primitive Hair, the Scarlet Letter. And then last, I had wanted to start this year and I did not get to it. So Stacey Nash, Halloween at Hollyberry Farm. I have fabric for it. I bought fabric at Dying to Stitch this year because it's a call for R&R. So I actually did not use the call for R&R. I used the R&R that matched the photo. So overall, that is a lot of planned starts. That is 4 sals, and then 12 starts with 4 sals, 12 Halloween starts is 16, and then a birthday start would be 17. Remember, I kind of said I wanted to finish this year with less whips than I started. We'll see. My ultimate goal this year is to touch every whip. And I would like to come close to finishing those 13 that I mentioned. We'll see if I get overwhelmed. If I get overwhelmed, then I won't start all those things. But I am definitely doing those 4 sals, and I will be doing some Halloween stitching. So we'll see. You know, it's fun to make plans. They don't always go as planned. Sometimes we end up changing them. It's fine, it happens. But we'll see. I've never really made these plans before for a whole year. It was fun. And we'll see how long I go before they change. I tend to notice that my stitching has seasons. I tend to get a lot of stitching done between the months of like January and May. Not as much done in June. Very little in July and the month of August. And then it picks up again until November. We'll see if next year follows that same pattern. So that is all I have. I'm apologizing now because I know that I have started and stopped this video a number of times, and I'm gonna be putting it all together. It's kind of dark now. I realized I'd forgotten to do this clip. So I'm doing it well after the first part of the video. But I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. I want to thank all of you for watching my videos and liking, subscribing, and commenting. I really have enjoyed doing FlossTube videos this year, and I look forward to doing them again next year. I'm coming up onto my year anniversary, which is kind of exciting. So have a happy new year, everybody. Love to know your plans for the year, and you know, what you plan on doing. And thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you very much for being a part of my stitching year, and have a great day and a happy new year.